Today I'm working on a Chevy Uplander, replacing the turn signal multifunction switch. First thing you want to do is disconnect the negative battery cable right down there. It's just a 10 mil nut on the top of the terminal. Just need a extension ratchet and a 10 mil socket. And push that back out of the way. Next thing is going to be to pull this guy out. There's two bolts there. Mine only had one in it. It was a Phillips or a 7 hex. And then there's just tabs you pull straight out this way. Pop those spring tabs, and then if you adjust the tilt all the way down, you just sneak it out this way. Then you'll have to, at some point, to get that this bottom cover off, pop this out. I didn't take it all the way off. If you do want to do that, that's a little more work, but there's screws down there you'll have to take out. I just pulled it down a little bit for clearance. Next, there's a cover. This is the bottom cover here, but around the lever there's a cover. Find it here. This little guy. And that goes here. Just take a little pick or a screwdriver and push that tab and pop it out. And that gives you clearance to get that cover out around that lever. Then there's going to be, that sits under there. There's going to be a screw there, a Torx bit screw, and a screw there. It's a Torx bit. Take those out. Then comes the real fun part. This cover, the top cover, you have to take the ignition lock cylinder out, which, in order to do so, this cover on there, you have to push a button inside this hole with a pick. So you want something, this is what I used, just a right angle pick, but you've got to shove your hand and pick up under this. Well, this is still around the turn signal lever, and this is still around the ignition lock cylinder, so it's a real pain. What I ended up doing was I just snapped this off so I could pull the cover up and jam my hand and the pick up in there, and I could barely see with a flashlight to get the pick in that hole. But yeah, I just broke the lever off of the old switch because I knew I was going to replace it anyway, and that made access to that little button you got to push easier. But you'll push that pick in, and then you'll take the key and you'll turn the ignition forward and kind of fiddle with it and wiggle it, and it should, the OE repair manual said to turn it to start, but I think mine came out when I got it to the run position. So you'll just kind of have to mess with that. But yeah, I got that out, and then I was able to get that cover up out of there. Oh, I should mention, there is one more screw right there, and that's after you get the lower cover off. That screw it's a silver hex screw, and that'll be up the side here, and it goes up into the cover, the upper cover. And I didn't realize that until after I had this ignition cylinder out, so it might be easier to get that cover lifted up to get at that little hole with the button in it if you get that screw out first, but I did not. So let's see, next you're gonna take this little guy. It's a spacer, just a little spacer that this long screw for the bottom cover goes through. Take that out, and then there's a screw right there, and it's a Torx bit, a T25, I believe it was. T20 or T25. There's one there, and then one up here. And once you get those loose, the plugs are a little easier to get to. There's one here, one back behind, and then this one that has a little zip tie down to that connector there. I already put a zip tie back on it because this is the new switch. Let's see. In order to get at that screw, you're gonna want, I've got a special little low clearance tool, but if you don't have one of these, just grab your, now I can tell you what size this is. It is a T25. You can just take your bit and get it in there, and then you can use a 1/4 inch drive to turn it, or a plier, or whatever you got. But once you break it loose, I was able to thread mine out by just with this little bit and my fingers. But the OE repair manual says to take the whole steering wheel off, which I kind of thought was silly, but I'm pretty sure it's just for clearance for that screw. That's probably the trickiest part of this whole deal. But yeah, then after that, just put it back together in reverse order of how it came apart. Put your top cover on, bottom cover on, and then pop this back into place, and that back into place, and ready to rock.